Max is a visual programming language, primarily used for audio and visual processing. Max patches contain objects. These objects are connected to each other's inputs and outputs through patch cords. Here's some examples of what's possible in Max. This center area is known as the patcher. This is where your Max objects connect with each other. The top toolbar has some commonly used objects for easy use. The left toolbar is for all your assets, things like audio, images, video, plugins, and other objects. The right toolbar is where you can edit the settings of your currently selected object, or the patch itself if you press this button. It also has the console, which will show you any errors in your current patch. And the bottom toolbar is for different patcher functions. The lock on the left allows you to interact with certain objects instead of editing them. The patch cords that connect objects carry four main data types: ints, floats, symbols, and lists. Ints or integers are non-decimal point numbers. Floats or floating points are numbers that contain a decimal point. Symbols are characters, strings of text, or bang messages to trigger objects. And lists contain all previous data types within an array. Programming in Max is done with objects. These can contain a number of inputs and outputs. If you hover your mouse over one of these, it'll let you know what type of data it is expecting. You can create an object by double-clicking in the patcher, pressing the keyboard shortcut O, or you can select it in the top toolbar. Then just type the name of the object you'd like to use. Some objects have parameters which you can set after the object's name. To see more information specific to the object and its parameters, right-click on the object and open its Help menu. These guides have useful information on each object. There are special objects in Max that can be accessed by the top toolbar, by the keyboard shortcut, or typed into a Max object. The majority of these can be interacted with if the patcher is locked. This is a message box. It can be used to output the data displayed in it. This is triggered when it's clicked on, or when a bang is sent to the top left input. Keywords specific to the object it's connected to can be typed in these boxes to trigger functions. For example, if I type set before a message here and output it into another message box, the message would change to the new value I set it to. For details on each object's expected messages and their functions, look in the Help menu and under Messages. Message boxes can also be used to display incoming messages if routed into the top right input, which can be useful for debugging. This is a comment box. It takes several messages to edit its text and appearance and can be used for labeling a patch. This is a toggle, and this is a button. When the toggle is clicked, it changes from off or on. It outputs an integer of 0 or 1 based on its current state. When the button is clicked, it outputs a bang symbol. A variety of objects either use a 0 or 1 or a bang to trigger their functions. This is an integer box and a float box. These can be interacted with to output values, or can be used to show the incoming value of a patch cord. To showcase the basics of Max, let's use some arithmetic objects and see how they function. These are the basic arithmetic objects within Max. All take in two numbers, integer or float, and output their result. For all these objects, the output is only triggered when the left input changes, or when a bang is sent to it. If you use message boxes as their input, they need to be triggered so that their value is stored into the object, and number boxes only output their value whenever they are changed. Sometimes forgetting these things can lead to some confusing results. These objects only need one input if a parameter is defined. Here are some more useful objects and their functions that can be used for the logic within your patch. The select object, or cell for shorthand, takes in a value to be tested. If the incoming value is the same as one of these parameters, then a bang will be sent to the corresponding output. If not, a bang will be sent to the last output. The trigger object, or T for shorthand, sends out the value inputted to all outputs specified. B is for bang, I is for int, F is for float, and S is for symbol. The output is only triggered when the inputted value changes. The metro object is a metronome. It expects a 1 to start and a 0 to stop, which is perfect for the toggle object. The second input is how often a bang is sent out every millisecond. The random object generates a random number within the given range when it receives a bang. This can be used with the scale object to generate numbers within an expected range. The scale object takes in a value and interpolates it from one range to another. The pack object takes any amount of specified data and packs it into a list. This list can be unpacked by the unpack object. This is useful for organizing the flow of data in your patch. To help organize your patch even more, you can encapsulate objects, essentially making your own custom object. To do this, select all the objects you want to encapsulate and press Edit and Encapsulate in the System menu, or use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-Shift-E. Encapsulated objects are shown with a P, then the name of the encapsulation. You can create a blank encapsulation by creating a new P object. To open it, double-click on the object. This is a subpatch. You can create an input to this patch with an inlet object, and an output with an outlet object. These are then shown in the main patcher, so you can pass data in and out of the subpatcher. If you encapsulate objects that are connected to others, Max will automatically create these inlets and outlets for you. If your project starts to become buried under patch codes, you can consider using send and receive objects, or S and R for shorthand. These act exactly the same as patch codes, but instead wirelessly transfer data between send and receive objects that share the same name. The next part of this introduction will be focused on audio and synthesis within Max, but I encourage you just to mess around with different objects and check the help menu or the Max documentation if you get stuck. The patch from this video will be in the description.